Today, we've got something really chilling for you. This is a personal story that was sent in by a subscriber from West Kirby Onglong in Assam. And this isn't just some campfire tale. It's a first-hand account of a truly terrifying encounter that happened in 2024. So let's just dive right in.
Right off the bat, you can tell this is serious. We're talking about a level of fear that leaves a real, lasting mark. The story revolves around a 9th grade student, a kid named Arnav, and an experience so deeply disturbing that it took him over half a year to even start getting over it. The big question is, what on earth did he see that day?
All right, so to really get what happened, you need to picture the setting. Arnav's village is tucked away in this mountainous region. To get to his school, which was downhill, there was the main road, and then there was this other option, a mysterious, forested path that was a whole lot less straightforward.
So you have these two choices, right? There's the main road. It's the normal, safe route the school bus always takes. No surprises there. But then there's Church Road. It's this winding, tree-covered shortcut that just screams forbidden. And of course, for the students who saw it every day, it was this huge source of curiosity. You know how it is. They were just dying to know where it went.
Their chance finally came during summer vacation. The school was holding some extra classes, but the whole schedule was a lot more relaxed. Instead of having to rely on the school bus, Arnav started riding his scooter, and that gave him and his friend Ravi the freedom they'd been waiting for. The plan was set. They were finally going to explore Church Road and satisfy that curiosity once and for all.
The day it all went down was July 21st, 2024. And, like a lot of these really unsettling stories, it all started with these small, seemingly random things going wrong. Just little changes to the daily routine that, on their own, meant nothing. First off, his best friend Ravi, the guy he was supposed to go on this adventure with, didn't even show up to school. Then, after class, Arnav and a few others got held back late to move some benches around. So by the time he's finally walking out to his scooter, it's already 5:45 p.m. The sun's going down, and that's when he sees an acquaintance, a guy named Samarth, waiting for a ride. So Arnav does the nice thing and offers to drop him off. It was just this string of little coincidences that put him on the road, late, with someone he barely knew. So, they're driving, and as they get close to the turnoff, Arnav's planning to just take the main road. I mean, it's getting dark, right? It's the sensible thing to do, but then Samarth, sitting behind him, insists they take the shortcut. Arnav even noticed that his voice sounded weirdly deep, almost unnatural, but he kind of just shook it off. When Samarth said, "I'll show you something," well, that was it. Arnav's curiosity got the best of him, and he made the turn onto Church Road. As they start driving down this creepy, darkening road, the whole vibe just changes. You can feel it. Then Arnav spots something up ahead that makes him slow the scooter down. Something was very, very wrong. Every other time he'd been near this road, the old church was always locked up tight, completely shuttered. But not tonight. Tonight, the main gate was swung wide open, and standing right there in the entrance was a priest, looking straight at Arnav and gesturing for him to come over.
Arnav's a little confused by all this, but he decides to go talk to the priest. But just before he does, he takes a quick look up at his rearview mirror, just to check on Samarth. The seat behind him was empty. Samarth was just gone. No sound, no feeling of someone getting off the scooter, nothing. One second he was there, the next he had vanished into thin air, leaving Arnav completely alone on that dark road. Arnav completely panics. He tells the priest his friend must have fallen off somewhere back on the road. But the priest just looks at him calmly and says, "No, son, you've been alone the whole time." And then he gives him this urgent warning. Turn around. Right now. Go back the way you came, because it is not safe for you to keep going.
But you have to remember, Arnav is a terrified teenager. The thought of driving back down that same dark road where his friend just mysteriously disappeared was just as scary as going forward. So he makes a split-second decision. He ignores the priest's warning, thinking the shortcut is still the fastest way home and therefore the safest.
So he keeps going. As he gets near the path to a cemetery, not too far from his village, he sees her, a young girl, just standing on the side of the road, crying. Arnav is freaked out, but he decides to just speed past and not look. But then, just a few seconds later, she's there again, further down the road, still crying. Only this time, she turns and looks right at him.
Where her eyes should have been, there was nothing, just empty, black holes. That sight completely broke him. He spins the scooter around in a panic and just guns it, racing back towards the only person he could think of who might be able to help, the priest at the church.
The priest sees the absolute terror on his face and doesn't waste a second. He hands Arnav a Bible and gives him a set of very specific, almost ritualistic instructions. First, pray. Second, cover up any reflective surface on his scooter. This is a common bit of folklore, the idea that mirrors can be portals for spirits. Third, tuck the Bible inside his shirt, right against his chest. And the most important rule, no matter what he hears, do not, under any circumstances, respond.
Okay, so Arnav takes a deep breath, steels his nerves, and turns back around, heading for home. He sees the girl in the exact same spot. He forces himself to look straight ahead, drives past her, and then the chase began. The thing started running after his scooter, screaming and crying and calling out his name.
And this was no normal chase. She was unnaturally fast, keeping pace with his scooter perfectly. Her body was facing forward, running straight, but her neck was twisted at this impossible angle so she could stare right at him the whole time. But Arnav did exactly what the priest told him to do. He didn't look back, he didn't say a word. The chase went on until he was just about 200 meters from his village. Right near a small temple, she just vanished.
The next day, as you can imagine, Arnav was an absolute wreck. When he saw the real Samarth at school, he confronted him. And of course, his friend had no idea what he was talking about. He wasn't even there. Desperate for some kind of explanation, Arnav and his friend Ravi went to talk to an older local woman who lived near the start of Church Road.
And she told them this incredibly tragic story. Apparently, years ago, a father and his little girl were killed in a terrorist attack on that road. The father was given a proper burial, with all the final rites. But the daughter? She was just buried without the proper ceremonies. And so her angry, restless spirit has haunted that road ever since, lashing out at anyone she sees as an outsider. And Arnav, being Bengali and not from the local Karbi tribe, was a target.
So Arnav finally has an explanation. He feels like he can maybe start to make sense of it all. He thanked the woman for her help and told her about the kind priest at the church who saved his life and gave him the Bible. He even asked if she could return it for him. But her answer delivered the final and most mind-bending twist to this whole thing.
The woman was just stunned. She told him that was impossible. That church hadn't been used in over 2 years. There was no priest. It was completely abandoned, locked up, and empty. Which means the person, or the thing, that gave him the Bible and the instructions to save his life couldn't have been a real person.
When Arnav then told her about the fake Samarth appearing and disappearing, the woman offered up this terrifying theory. She said that other spirits probably haunt that area, and that it's possible one of them disguised itself as his friend specifically to lure him down that road and lead him right into the girl's trap. And that's what we're left with, this final, haunting question that changes everything. So, okay, we have the angry, malevolent ghost of the girl. We have a second deceptive spirit that acted as a lure to trap him. But that means there was a third supernatural player that night, a benevolent one that took the form of a priest and actively stepped in to save Arnav's life. So if the girl was real and the fake Samarth was real, who or what was the priest? That's the part of the story that just has no explanation.